All right, everybody, I am back with a brand new DC update. Now it is first thing in the morning, and I wanted to get this video out. I was super busy yesterday and just did not have the time to do that third video. But today, we're going to take a look at something that has been rumored for a long time. And I am going to gloat a little bit before I show you this article, because I have so many people come in and tell me I'm wrong. I have no idea what I'm talking about, and I don't have any insider information. But I used to be a reporter and we always had to do research before we would do stories. And everything, I always do stuff based on what I see. And there's a couple of things that are coming to fruition right now. One of those is the fact that Warner Brothers is probably going to sell in April. Everybody assumes it's going to happen. The industry is now talking about it. They've been talking about it. And this goes back to a meeting that David Zaslav had way back at the beginning 2 years ago, before he even took the reins over at Warner Brothers Discovery. He never had intentions of keeping Warner Brothers. It didn't look like that's what he wanted to do. And you have to understand that David Zaslav came from Discovery, which is all they're not all non-scripted, but he wasn't doing comedies, action. He wasn't doing movies. It was all reality programming. He doesn't know this side of it at all. He doesn't know the movie side of it in any way, shape, or form. And all indications is that he was getting it built up to try and sell. But as we know, their stocks have plummeted. They're not worth anything. They're struggling. The movie division, the only thing that has helped them to any degree is Barbie. But you would need hit after hit after hit after hit to make any type of headway in the issues that they're having. It's just not going to happen. And so it looks like they are getting ready to sell or to merge with another company as soon as the time comes. And I told everybody this was going to happen. You have a bunch of creatives, actors, producers, directors who said, and I actually showed this in another video, where they said they have no intentions of working with Warner Brothers Discovery until they are sold. So they know something we don't. And you had all the trades reporting on this a long time ago. So I report on all this stuff, right? But then I'm wrong, right? Like, I'm wrong. I can't get stuff like that right. And I really don't think there has ever been a time on my channel where I've predicted that something was going to happen that didn't happen. And it's all just because I'm looking at everything that's happening out there, and I make my judgments and my view on what I see happening. And I told everybody more than likely this was going to happen. I didn't say it was going to happen, but I said more than likely it's going to happen. And it looks like it is. The other thing I want to point out is I told you that James Gunn just can't do projects straight. I look at everything he's done, everything, and he can't make straight films. He can't go in, and I don't think he has the ability to make Superman a Superman movie based off of Superman's character. He's got too many other characters in the film. And then you look at his pet project, the first one, the DCU kickoff, which is Creature Commandos, and they're making it a hard R cartoon. Hard R, with disgusting juvenile jokes in it that only James Gunn can write, as said by Frank Grillo. And this has always been my fear, that he's going to come in and he's going to dumb this stuff up. He doesn't take superheroes seriously, and I have no faith in what he's doing. I hope that Superman Legacy is the first time I'm wrong. I really do. But I don't see that happening. All the evidence points to another freaking disaster. But let's take a look at this article where Variety talks about this sale. They came out and talked about these yesterday, and we're going to look at exactly why they picked up people like Tom Cruise. So let's take a look at this article. So it says, Warner Brothers spends big. Joker 2 budget hits $200 million. And I talked about that yesterday. Lady Gaga's $12 million payday, and courting Tom Cruise's new deal, and more. And the whole first part of this talks about how they courted, that specifically Mike DeLuca and Pam Abdi jetted to London to connect with the new crown jewel of the studio, Tom Cruise. The three met to identify a film that would kick off their non-exclusive strategic partnership. Sources say a raft of possibilities were discussed, including an Edge of Tomorrow follow-up and Quentin Tarantino's The Movie Critic, which currently isn't set up with a distributor and has Warner Brothers, like every major studio, salivating. Goes on to say at 61, Cruise remains the king of studio tentpoles, a roost solidified by 2022's Top Gun Maverick, which took in $1.5 billion worldwide. But Cruise wants more than action stardom. And they go on to talk about how he actually wants another, he wants an Oscar possibly if he can, and he actually hasn't been even nominated since Anderson's 1999 drama Magnolia. Talks about how early in his career, Cruise benefited from being directed by heavyweights like Spielberg, Scorsese, and Kubrick. But then he moved into this Mission Impossible phase, where basically he does, a bunch of stunts and routinely defies the laws of time and gravity. So skipping some of this, if we move down to where things get important, it says down here that the strategy at Warner Brothers right now, and the reason they made some of these big star deals, is they're basically playing with other people's money, says one insider. They're shopping for Quentin or Cruise with the notion that they can use it as a shiny object that is going to be additive when Zaslav sells the company. They go on to say that time may be approaching. In April, Warner Brothers Discovery can entertain offers to buy, sell, or merge with studios like NBC Universal, as many on the lot believe will happen. That's when the 2-year lockup period expires as part of the 2022 deal that united Warner Media and Discovery. All of the recent moves, from a first look packed with Margot Robbie's Lucky Chap to the quest to land Christopher Nolan's Oppenheimer follow-up, are akin to painting a house before it hits the market. They go on to say, and this is one splashy renovation. The budget for Todd Phillips' musical Joker sequel, and they're even calling it a musical, one of DeLuca and Abdi's first greenlights, has ballooned to about $200 million, and this is before they even do any advertising. A significant bump from the $60 million cost of the first film. Sources say Joaquin Phoenix is getting $20 million to reprise his role as the clown Prince of Crime, while Lady Gaga is taking home about $12 million to play Harley Quinn. Joker took in more than $1 billion, but musicals are tricky, and I'm glad they realize that. Case in point, Warner's lost $40 million on last year's The Color Purple, according to sources. Yeah, because you don't remake a movie like that. They didn't advertise it well. I don't know anybody who is interested in the new remake. We already have an amazing film that came out in the 80s. There was no reason they needed to redo that. They said, though, that one can be blamed on the previous regime. Sure it is. They abandoned the movie. They abandoned it. How many people actually saw? The only way, even to this day, that I would have known that The Color Purple was getting released was by going to the movies and seeing movie trailers. I never once saw it talked about online. They didn't promote it. I've not seen any advertisements for it outside of going to the movies. And even then, I only saw it twice, a trailer for it twice. They go on to say that some arguing that spending big is essential in releasing movies in theaters. There's only so much top talent in Hollywood, and it's very competitive and stretched thin because a lot of talent have deals in streaming, says Jeff Bach in Exhibitor Relations. If theatrical is going to work, you need the A-lister like Tom and Leo. And Warner Brothers is spending what they need to spend to keep this talent. It's not that they're spending to keep that talent. What they're doing is they're buying that talent. They're getting ready for a sale. They're trying to make it look shiny and new. And I want to point out that there are two people down there that I actually trust, and that is Pam Abdi and Mike DeLuca. They're the ones who wanted to continue with everything that was going on prior to James Gunn coming in. And they are the ones who have the common sense down there. Zaslav doesn't, and definitely James Gunn doesn't. But they go on to say, but executives across town believe Warner's math sometimes doesn't add up, with the studio decried as fiscally irresponsible. Other projects that DeLuca and Abdi prioritized are perplexing executives at rival studios. Warner's picked up Maggie Gyllenhaal's Frankenstein film, which is set in the 1930s and stars Christian Bale and Jessie Buckley. It was a project that Netflix deemed too risky and passed on before Warner Brothers salvaged it. Now that's ironic. A Warner Brothers source says Netflix didn't want to make it on the timeline Gyllenhaal proposed. As merger mania draws near, DeLuca and Abdi seem unwilling to push back on talent asks, but apparently they did just that during the Coogler-Jordan negotiations. The director and star wanted 25% of first dollar gross to split and 2 guaranteed theatrical release slots for future films. Both deal points were nixed. It's people getting big heads thinking they can come in and do whatever they want, taking advantage. But like I said, DeLuca and Abdi know what's going on. Despite the pressure to acquiesce to demands from top talent, DeLuca and Abdi can still say no. So there you guys have it. The entire plan to begin with, from the day Zaslav took over, was to eventually sell off Warner Brothers. He doesn't want Warner Brothers. I don't think he ever wanted it. The way he's treated it, the way, they had big talk before he took over, and then as soon as he took over, he kind of went against everything he said when he was picking it up. And he's been known to embellish things to his investors. You saw that the investors actually tried to do a class action lawsuit against him. There's just a lot of nasty things going on, and you could tell that Zaslav is in over his head. The only two people down there that have any sense of anything are Pam Abdi and Mike DeLuca, and they're going to steer the ship right the best they can. Now, let's talk about what this means for the future. So a lot of people said, like some people in my comments yesterday say, what happens if they get sold to Netflix and like NBC Universal and they don't restore the Snyderverse and you guys start harassing those companies? Well, here's how I look at this stage. It can't get any worse than it is right now. It just can't. We've got some goofy things coming up by James Gunn, a lot of projects nobody wanted, nobody asked for. They're a waste of studio money, is what it comes down to. I have no interest in those things. I want to get back to the meat and potatoes of what DC is and what it can be. We already had a blueprint. We already had the right people in place. They could have just continued with what they were doing, but instead they decided to scrap it and try to make it look shiny and new. And I think a lot of people are going to see through that. I really do. Pam Abdi and Mike DeLuca have been quiet and just sat in the background. I think they're just waiting for all of the pieces to fall. But even if it doesn't get restored, to me, it can't get any worse than it is now. It doesn't seem like David Zaslav even respects Warner Brothers in any way, shape, or form. All right, guys, so what do you guys think about this new revelation that just came out yesterday? What do you think is going to happen here in the future? I totally believe they're going to be sold, merged, or whatever, and I do believe the only two options they have are Netflix and NBC Universal. I don't think anybody else is going to be interested, and we'll see what happens. All right, guys, I will be back with another DC update. I've got some pretty cool things to show in my next update later today, and I'll try to get that out probably around 1 p.m. Is my guess, 1 p.m. Pacific time. So if you're looking for another video, it should come out about then. All right, guys, I do appreciate the support. We will see you on the next video.